There's always a bit of a pause. Hey, I bet we're live. Hi, everybody. It's Laura Eisenhower. I'm here with 𝗦𝘂𝗂𝗏 from Portal to Ascension. Great to see you. I don't know if it was accidentally. Hey, I bet we're okay. It's always a little shaky when it's a live thing. But anyway, I'm here with 𝗦𝘂𝗂𝗏 from Portal to Ascension. We've been doing stuff together since 2011, maybe even before that. We met and started to just, realize, man, we're on the same page. We got a mission. And so he's hosted me a bunch of times and he's hosting me again. We're doing something this Sunday and it's going to be at 12 o'clock Pacific time. And it's all about upgrading in the face of adversity. 𝗦𝘂, tell us a bit about Portal to Ascension and how you kind of put this platform together and what a person could find on the platform. And then we'll talk about my webinar, but just definitely want people to be more exposed to Portal to Ascension, which, I mean, you're tireless. You've been working so hard for so many years.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So Portal to Ascension, I started a Facebook group back in 2006, but not until a few years later, I always butcher the dates, but like somewhere around 2008, 2009, I changed the title on Facebook to Portal to Ascension. And at that point, we had tens of thousands of people in our groups. So I started, being curious about what if I experimented and started doing events with the people that are joining the groups. And I was attending conferences, spiritual conferences, Conscious Life Expo, and so many more, connecting with many people. So I decided, why don't I reach out to these people that have connected with these speakers and start doing live events? And that was probably just like a year and a half before we connected. So I began doing not only events, local events, meditation events, sound healing events, but I also went up and down the coast 3 to 4 different times with different practitioners, just taking this awareness, everywhere possible, from all the way down to San Diego, all the way up until to Vancouver and then Victoria Island and then back down again. So that was kind of the beginning phases up until 2010 for Portal to Ascension. And then we connected. And at the same time, you're coming out with all of this information. We had now established ourselves as an event production company. Right at the same time, you were coming out full throttle with your information. So over, I think it was 2011. Yeah, it was maybe the end of 2010 into 2011 and 2012, because you were at a 2012 event. We did pretty much an event every few months together. And so you actually, working with you, Laura, really helped me cultivate my production skills early on. And now at this phase, around 6 years ago now, I moved away from all online events because I was about to completely shut down Portal to Ascension. It wasn't like paying my bills. I couldn't survive. I needed to use my degree, even though that's a whole other story. Actually, I won't get into that. But so I was like, okay, let me just do what my parents told me to do, work some conventional job. And at that point, I had a realization, well, what if I stopped doing these live events and started doing everything online and just cut the overhead costs and just continue doing this work? And I didn't really have an expectation from it, but it took off. The first event, we had hundreds of people sign up on the first event. So that was a really good sign for us. Dolores Cannon, our first event was Dolores Cannon's last event before she actually passed, at the Starseed Summit, it was called. And then ever since then, for the last 6 to 7 years, we've been picking up momentum. At this point, we're a full-on conscious event production organization where we do around 110 events under our own umbrella a year. Plus, we do co-productions with many other institutes, organizations, and I've cultivated around 10,000 hours of conscious content and presentations. It's kind of like Netflix for consciousness, where you can go to our website. There's, just Laura, your footage, for example, your videos, we have probably a few hundred hours of just you, since we've done so much together, but then so many other topics. So every topic that I've really had the opportunity to want to know more about or be curious about, I've created some event on, or I have it in the pipeline over the next couple of years to do. So at this point, where we not only have our online organization and our online platform, but we're also a full service production company where we can actually take speakers on tours. We're going to start doing our international tours to ancient sites next year, and so much more. And what we're here now today to discuss is one of the events that we do together. And every few months, we have Laura, you're on our platform every few months, giving your updates and also just sharing new information. So we put this one in the calendar a few months ago, But as we were talking about just recently, that this is going to be more relevant about the times right now because there's so much going on. It's just the energy is so intense. The division is run rampant, right? Like it's just like the division is crazy. Everything is politicized right now, and the ideologies are just like split down the middle. There seems to be only two sides, which isn't the case, right? So this event is going to be covering many topics that you love speaking about, you know, a galactic connection and all that. But really, I feel you're going to be bringing it down to just kind of an overall positive upliftment of these times right now, so that we can actually feel more empowered as we move forward, right?
Oh, totally. And as he, was talking, I mean, you have these archives on your website, and most of them are free now.
Yeah. So everything from 2.5 years ago and before is free.
Yeah,
which is
awesome.
which is like maybe like 4,000 hours of content.
Right. And I know sometimes people have an issue with there being any dollar amount connected to doing a webinar, this and that. But I mean, we really do want to dedicate our times. We can't all just work whatever jobs. We have to bring this lost history, the lost sciences, the type of sciences that help us to understand the physics of our multidimensional reality and who we are and what we're truly made of, what our junk DNA truly is. And if we don't shed light on this, we're going to be very disempowered. But yeah, it takes hours and hours of research, and it takes time to put together presentations and events.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time, just like any sort of job or work. But I hope it's worth it to people, because I mean, we want to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
those that have a tight budget, we help out and in whatever way we can, so that they get access to the content. Go ahead, Neil.
100%. Yes. Sorry to interrupt like that.
But,
But
oh
yeah, like I just wanted to second that. Yeah, we like invest all of our time and energy into this. Is like not only our hobbies, right? Our personal hobbies, but also our full-time profession is really putting out this information. And the 6 years ago when I decided to go online, before that, I quit Portal to Ascension like 4 or 5 times. I was like, I'm done with this. This isn't going to help. I'm just going to like be one of the spectators at a conference and just do my thing. But it was 6 years ago now, you know, plus or minus a year. Around 6 years ago, I decided and made this conscious intent that I'll never quit this again. And no matter what happens, what level of abundance I'm at or anything, I'll continue doing this work. And what we're seeing with so many things is being disclosed, drip disclosed, so many validations happening from the mainstream right now. It's really, you know, the time to second guess yourself is kind of past. It's been validated. This has been confirmed. We live in this quantum reality. We're all vibrating frequencies. We're all made out of sound, and UFOs and ETs and exist. And even the mainstream is saying that now. So it's about what we're going to do with this information, because it could go down 2 routes, right? It could be hijacked, and then we could get this whole drip disclosure kind of image of what reality is, and we all fall in line with that. Or we can have some conscious disclosure of, you know, of who we truly are, our spiritual essence. You know, the fact that is that we forgot, you know, who we are and where we came from entirely. But the beauty is that we're on this planet right now, and the game is for us to explore and try to remember what we forgot, right? Yeah. So I feel that's what, you know, that's what we're here for. That's definitely like part of your mission as well. So this event that we're going to be doing is just going to be more of that right now. And I feel just like a year and a half ago, it was time, you know, when this whole COVID situation started, even more so right now, because it just seems that they're really concentrating on dividing us into making us think that we are different from the other. But what we need to focus on is that we have more in common with each other than we have in different.
Right, right. And that's what I get into in my talks, is understanding the roots of this level of infiltration through the media, through all these different power structures and industries, and how much it captures the mind and the creative energy of every individual that gets wrapped up into those narratives that aren't authentic and true to what this window period is really about. So I'll probably keep this up temporarily, because I'm really trying to protect my channel. But we really just are hoping that people, you know, want to register to really look at what's going on in the here and now and how to navigate these times. And I really feel that my whole life experience has prepared me for these times. I knew this was coming, but I've had more focus on the solutions, the good news, sort of the antidotes. And I put my attention on that, knowing, yes, I mean, I was born into a family that had general of the Second World War and a president that warned us about the military-industrial complex. And I kind of came in to this family line to expose what wasn't able to be exposed, or what was exposed and then censored or altered, or just, kind of wiped out. And we're seeing this today with the censorship or disinformation campaigns. And this has repeated itself throughout history in different ways. And we're still dealing with very much the same kind of war between kind of service to self, service to others, if people relate to it on that level, anti-Christ or Christ consciousness, or just personal human sovereignty or tyranny, control, and all these different tactics. So I'll share a little bit about what the talk's going to be, but I just want to put a little bit of a blast out for the fact that Augie, Nost, you and me are going to be doing another conference, an online conference, and that's going to be early November. We'll share the details soon though, right?
Yeah. And that's, I think, November 1st. It's a 2-day event, and we're going to have, I think, 10 speakers. It's going to be a continuation of the last event, but also have other topics that we didn't, cover in the last one, like time travel, astral travel, and so much more. But yeah, it's going to be our second co-production together, so I'm excited for that. And we will share information as soon as we get it. Yeah,
and also just working through trauma, how to navigate these times, conscious evolution, and it's really important that we go into a much more expanded place, because the limits of fear and just feeling at the mercy of all this madness around us is really not serving us. We have to stay creative. We have to stay inspired. And the more we put attention on what's available instead of on what is trying to destroy it and take it away, the more we'll see the shift take place. This is really an act of siphoning and harvesting to create reaction, to harvest our creative energy to produce timelines and realities that we don't need, or we're not here to create or manifest. So should I read what I'm going to share on Sunday?
Yeah, and do you want to give me screen share privileges so I can share the
window? Yeah.
And I just wanted to say, yes, exactly what you just said about releasing trauma. That's like, even though we share so much information and even history and things like that, really the bottom line is releasing trauma of this life and even other lives, right? That we've kind of adopted cellular memory that has trauma in it too, and get to a place of non-reaction so that we can really be harmonized with each other and not so triggered all the time, because it seems that as the time progresses, the more people get triggered so quickly. So having these events are really designed to allow for us to release these traumas so that we can come together as one.
Yeah, and if people haven't seen this show, it's called The Ghost in My Child. It's sort of a docu-series, and it's about children that come in with past life memories and seriously carrying the traumas from past lives, and then they discover who their child was in a past life. Really well done. I even
what's the name again?
The Ghost in My Child. It's really unbelievable. You can find it on Amazon.
That's an awesome name. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, no, it's really powerful. I actually watched a bunch of episodes for the second time, and I love these kind of real stories, because the parents were surprised. They're kind of skeptical, or they were, in a religion or a belief system that didn't really include reincarnation. It's amazing because the children, speak about it as well. I mean, I highly recommend it, everybody. Okay, so go ahead. Here's the screen share.
Yeah. Do you want, should I read this? And then you want to kind of like talk about what I'm going to read here, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, if you want to read it, and then I can just, share a little bit about how I came into this sort of information and what inspired me real quick. And then we'll just say goodbye to everybody, and just hopefully you'll join us.
Yes.
And you get constant replays, remember. So if you're not able to show up and you purchase it, you have constant replays. You can take your time with the slides and the information, and we'll definitely create some space for Q&As. I know sometimes I have so much information and that, oh my God, time's up, but I'll hopefully hold at least a little bit of time to take people's questions, or I'll do like a follow-up. Okay,
definitely.
Go ahead.
So this is the official invite, everybody, to the event this weekend. It's August 22nd from 12 to 2 Pacific, which is 3 to 5 Eastern, which is 8 o'clock in the UK. And let me just read about, what Laura is going to be going over here, just some of what she's going to be going over. Laura will provide us some deep insights in regards to how we can move through the energy of adversity and advance ourselves in the face of fear and uncertainty through exploring planetary alignments, galactic chakras, junk DNA, and frequency. She will bring to light some interesting new disclosures connected with benevolent ETs and share resources that can help us move through these times so that we can feel anchored and grounded on organic ascension timelines and transform any fear into creative empowerment. She'll talk about timelines, events in our galactic history, and human history that seem to be igniting old trauma in the human race. What will it take to get over this hump and thrive and take our power back? Hear her thoughts and perspectives and new insights coming through.
Yeah. So I totally feel my whole life has prepared me for this. A lot was coming through as a child, and I've just been paying attention to it. And like you, not giving up on the platform you created, I never gave up on this mission. And even when I couldn't share it and nobody really was taking me seriously, I didn't give up. I was like, well, I'm doing it anyway. It doesn't really matter whether there's validation or not. And a lot of it had to do with the greater energy work and making this connection to 0-point unified field, going beyond the veil, the lower creator gods, a lot of the manipulations and imposters that we see in the lower astral realms that are trying to hook into people, really consciously like moving through all that and opening up, you know, energy centers that are very much a part of our own, you know, chakra system. That is, I mean, there's a whole lot about that and how the chakras are changing in these times, but like accessing those, you know, galactic chakras. And then I stumbled upon a clairvoyant institute. I was wanting to sign up for an herbal program in the California area with a really renowned herbalist, but they didn't have enough applicants. I ended up at a psychic institute, and it wasn't really my thing, the whole energy of the place. But I more felt an alliance with certain individuals that were a part of it. Some of the people that had been there for a while. And it was just amazing because they were like, oh, you're here. You've been clearing inorganic entities from wormholes. And they're like, you just need to, you know, ground yourself. And the minute I walked in the room, they said, Eisenhower's here. They didn't even know who I was related to. I'm like, okay, I'll take some grounding courses and meditation and kind of power up the third eye and this and that. But they realized all this weaponry on me and all this sort of targeting that was trying to steer me, you know, off planet. And I was prepared as a child to be very aware of it. And a lot of interesting synchronicities unfolded along the way for me to, you know, address that and just, you know, turning the vibration of survival and fear into abundance in the moment without relying on any sort of material belongings or status or just a position in society to give me that. I learned to shift my frequency so that even if I was totally penniless and living on the road, even with my children, when I was in very difficult circumstances and I changed my frequency, unbelievable things began to happen. And a greater flow began to open up and things really began to fall into place and more positive things began to happen. And so in these times when we find ourselves in the survival chakra, we notice things or we gravitate towards things that reinforce the anxiety and the fear to the point where that's the only reality we're seeing. So we have to be very conscious of how to shift that. And I learned a lot in the wilderness expedition trips that I took as well, in what frequency is all about, intention, perspective, and how the different people that I was going on these courses with, you could kind of see their relationship with creation or nature, and where their attitudes or their ego would really create an experience that was very different than somebody else that might have been more about, okay, let's create group harmony, or it was just the most interesting education. And I'm not going to like go into all that in the presentation, but a lot of the research that I've done and a lot of the things that I share really back up these truths about what we're capable of on a creative level. I've seen glimpses of it in my life, but it's not about me. It goes way beyond and into a much greater potential that's open to us that we all have memories of. I mean, starseed missions and a lot of souls here are just like, we remember, but how can we embody? Instead of just understanding the concept, what do we need to do to fully invite it into our lives so that these darker forces that are based in lower frequency, that need us to be in a very low place of divide, conquer, negative ego, fear, anxiety, so that the AI can infiltrate and begin to assimilate it. How can we sort of see what tactics are being used? And in that moment of feeling maybe that target or that impulse to go into a lower place, how can we just readjust ourselves accordingly so that we can turn the weapon into a tool of growth, and we can actually use the weapons that they use on us against them because we've mastered the energy of this level of attack. And we claim the override frequency that's available in this ascension window period. So I go into a lot about, and if anybody's listened to my workshops before or events with Neil, I go into a lot about the mother arc, the 13th sign, and the planetary grid network, the healing of the planetary grid network, and the origins of the madness of what we've been seeing because of the manipulation of the planetary grid network and the utilization of a lot of dark technologies, including the Saturn moon matrix, which literally steals the life force of humans. And as we see in the deep state, and how it connects to the stealing of the innocent, to the point where the powers that be is stolen power. It's not their real power. It's our power that we've given to them. And it's time we break that relationship and claim our empowerment and exist in a truth frequency on a sovereign level.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I'm going to get into. I hope I didn't give too much away, but
no, beautifully said. And it's just so many things there. And honestly, I want to do like a 4-hour interview with you because I think I need to like write notes on all the keywords you say as you're saying them, and then just ask you the question afterwards, because there's so much there. But like what you said in your in the write-up that I just read, and what we've been talking about here, is really transforming the fear and releasing traumas, and stepping into the abundance and being centered even in the face of adversity. And when we're seeing chaos and craziness around us, how do we come back to that 0 point within ourselves so that we don't come from a reactory place and then damage ourselves emotionally, karmically, or whatever. So that's what it's really all about. And that's what Portal Ascension is about, is really getting to a place where we can transcend the fear. And over the last 2 years, oh my God, the amount of fear that everybody has had on this planet, right? Just think about, many people weren't scared of this whole situation from the get-go, right? But let's just say most of the planet was, right? They were scared that they could get sick and die because of what was put out there by the media and by the governments, that this could happen. Even right now, people are getting messages from medical companies, get vaccinated. If you don't get vaccinated, you'll probably die. MSNBC just said, if you don't get vaccinated, you're probably going to die. They said that, right? Like, just there's no regulation, even for journalism at this point. They can say whatever they want, and it just keeps, the fear gives them the ratings that they need, right? When it comes to the media and all this stuff. So the real trick here is, how do we transcend this fear, and how do we stay centered in these times where things that seem to be getting even more chaotic, right? As things get more and more chaotic, I get kind of hopeful, because I believe that in order to get to this kind of this reality, a lot of systems and structures need to come down and be replaced. And there's been a lot of chaos in the world right now, but what we're realizing is the system and society as we've created it doesn't work for all of us. It is not working for the benefit of us all. So my hope and my intention is that when we're on the other side of this, we will start creating mechanisms that are designed for all of us. But first, we need to check the greed and check all these nefarious agendas. But the only way we can do that is by continue sharing information with everybody, so that more and more people are in the know.
Absolutely. Right, yeah. And just, really finding these higher virtues to turn like the 7 deadly sins and these like gateways of like the hellish realms into the 7 sort of virtues of, wisdom, which is very much a part of what the ancients understood. And I don't really, go into that so much, but we have to get our minds back. If people are really afraid of death, it's because the mental computer, the mind-brain computer, is allowing a program to run it to the point where the creative channels respond to it. And then the physical body breaks down because it's not aligned with truth. And so we've been dealing with so many dark cycles of history where illness, injustice, poverty, it's just been imbalanced all across the board. And it's not about, the ones that are compromised or victims are the ones under that spell. It's the elitist kind of mentality that is under that program that has no problem, compromising or targeting where the true spirit of humanity lives, and will continue to thrive regardless of what it goes through, because it really holds the power of the human spirit beyond anything. And this is a transformation cycle. And so the tactic to cause the fear of death is how to stunt the growth of this amazing transformation that humanity should be embracing. And what is there to fear about death? If you do fear death, maybe you need a life review. Maybe you need to take some time off and look at your life and reconcile the things that you might feel guilty about or regretful of, or the mistakes you feel you might have made and the apologies you might need to make. Even though a lot of those energies, they're not like a permanent place to exist, but we need to give unconditional love to it, to understand it to the point of bringing it somewhere greater. Because those lower levels of energy, you know, don't serve us. They're a really low frequency. But you know what? It's better that we care and we reflect and we feel bad about doing something than be a narcissist or a blind tool or pawn of the dark side that is covering up things like child trafficking rings. So it's not a terrible thing to dip into those places. And that's a good reason to love yourself, that you care so much. But actively work on strengthening that part of yourself so that, you know, you can be renewed and know that the unconditional love of God, Goddess, and the Creator, the 0-point unified field that holds all that, is always here to nurture us and help us to reset, help us to overcome those things. And that to me is like claiming sovereignty and really connecting with the true cosmic and natural laws of the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
I know we could keep talking, so we'll probably close here and
let's do it. And let me just say, I'm going to post the link one more time in the chat because we have some people requesting it right there. So the link is there for everybody right now in the chat room.
But yeah, I love to go in depth.
Mm-hmm.
And
we'll do that this weekend.
And we will. And it's what, 2 hours long?
Yeah, it's 2 hours long. I mean, if you have, if you present for 2 hours and you want to take some questions, you can go a little over too, but we have it set for 2 hours.
Okay, awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and check out my website, everybody, cosmicgaia.org. I have a new platform, censorship-free, conscious vitality, and also Cosmic Gaia subscription, where I do, a bunch of Zoom events and I do mini readings, and we just work together, sharing, creating community, helping people to transition maybe out of jobs they feel compromised by. And it's really about building community right now. There's a lot of divide and conquer, and I'm kind of going in a direction that holds the intention to absolutely shut that down and dissolve it. Doesn't matter what you believe, doesn't matter, just come with love in your heart, mutual love and respect, and you'll be just, honored and appreciated no matter what your thoughts are and what your beliefs are.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. Moving away from, and Sol just mentioned this yesterday at one of our courses, moving away from tolerance, which is like, I don't accept you, but I'll tolerate you, to acceptance of people, wherever they're at in their life, because we're really like on this planet together, just trying to figure it out. All of us are just trying to figure out what to do next and how to live on this planet. And it's beautiful. We're all here on this beautiful planet together, and let's uplift it as well. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Great way to close. And thanks, Neil. Anything do you want to just shout out your website one more time? And then portaltoascension.org. If you go there and sign up, you'll get a free username and password where you get access to thousands of hours of presentations sorted by speaker, sorted by category. And you can add things to your watch list. You can continue watching later. It's pretty robust. So check that out. A new website will be launched very, very soon. And then also, again, for Laura Eisenhower's event, which is this Sunday, the 22nd, you can go to portaltoascension.org, click online events, and it's the first event right there. Please do go ahead and sign up. Let's get as many people as possible this weekend so that we can really, harmonize and connect together. It's always beautiful when we do these events because it's people from all over the planet with the same intention. And that really, I feel, creates a shift on Earth. And when we create abundance, we reinvest into things like healing centers and the ability to create greater projects and bring us together more. Exactly. And that's really, where it's at. So I'll put all the links in the description, give it a couple hours or so. And thanks so much, Neil. I look forward to seeing you Sunday and our event in November, which we will hear more about. We'll be creating roundtables and all sorts of things so that you guys can get an idea. A lot to come up. Yes. Oh, and exactly. I want to congratulate you on your YouTube channel being here. And there's a lot of people in the chat that are saying thank you and they missed you so much. So, I'm so happy too. You did a lot of work to really grow this channel. So I'm just so happy for you that it's back for you. Oh, well, thank you so much. Mm-hmm. And thanks everybody for your love and support. And you certainly have mine. And hope to see you Sunday, and we'll just be interacting, and we're just going to keep building the unity consciousness and support one another, help each other to stay empowered and to not compromise ourselves and to remember who we truly are.
We're worth it.
We are. Love you, Laura.